All right, and welcome back to another episode of the Movie Pope. And today we are going to be discussing the Super Mario Brothers. And can I just say, it was a movie that I was a bit surprised by because I thought I wasn't going to like it. But when I saw it, I actually walked away thinking to myself, if they make this into a universe, I could definitely roll with it. All right, so today I have with me Lee Suchek. Lee, how's it going this week?
Good, good. I have to say that, kind of going into this, I think, I think we all kind of know that there's this negative stigma around creating movies out of video games. Um, I think that stigma is maybe slowly going away. I think we saw the success of a TV show like Arcane. I think, really did well as I think a lot of people really did well with The Last of Us.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's other movies I'm forgetting or TV shows I'm forgetting about, but I think as we start to see more of this, I'm starting to see kind of that negative stigma come down some. So I'm hoping that is something that it kind of continues. Granted, Mario is not known for having the most complex or engaging story. And I thought it was harmless. I'll say that, but yeah. So yeah, that's where I'm at. I went into it. I was like, okay, let's see what this is about. I watched it. I was like, that was fun. Do I feel like super engaged in going in and seeing it again? Not really. So, yeah, no, I just it kind of just was just there. Like I think a lot of people really well. Tell me what you liked that because we actually haven't talked about this before. Like, so I'm very curious to see what do you think about the Super Mario Brothers.
Well, I'll say this for what it is. I'm not expecting it to be as emotional or as or as engaging as the Avengers movies. Let's put it that way. But
yeah, I think that's very fair.
But what I really liked about it was the fact that it was camp, but it was camp in a good way because there were a lot of elements about it that kind of just made you feel a bit nostalgic, and you're like, oh yeah, I remember that from my childhood because. Growing up, how many of us had not played, Super Mario Brothers or Donkey Kong at one point in our childhood? So, so for me, it was a trip down memory lane, and really, the story was just simple. There's nothing. There were no side quests. There were no B stories. There were no other plots. All the characters that you needed were in there, and the humor was on point. I mean, it was on point and it was appropriate for for the story that it was trying to tell and for the audience that it was appealing to. And I thought, this is pretty refreshing. It's filmmaking. It's filmmaking the way that it should be. To just be escapism for 90 minutes out of the day, and to your point too. I mean, with the adaptations that people have made over the years of video games, they've all fallen flat on their faces. Gosh, the big one that comes to mind was Doom, the one with
Yes.
The Rock a few years back, and let's not forget and let's not forget Battleship.
Oh my gosh, that one was an absolute travesty of a movie.
I saw bits of it and I just thought Liam Neeson must really, really be down on his luck, or someone had something on him and he had to do it, or else he would be exposed and his career will be ruined forever. I mean, so
somebody a favor for sure.
that as well. So for me, I was a bit apprehensive because because all adaptations or attempts at adaptations of games, and I'm gonna include board games into this mix, have been kind of what's the right word? Crap, really, because for me when they're trying to make these movies, they're trying to make them as serious and action driven as possible, and when you do that, you're setting yourself up for a pretty big letdown. And like you said before, with Super Mario Brothers, this is a movie that makes no pretensions. They're not pretending to go out there and be badasses and just like beat the absolute shit out of people. I mean, it's just camp, but it's good camp. It's good humor, and it's just there to be fun. And
Yes.
and have they done? And I'll use Battleship as an example. If they introduce, if they weren't as serious as they were in Battleship, if they tried to make it a little bit more, a little bit more campy, if they made it more like it is in the game, where it's just two ships trying to hit each other, I would be a bit more forgiving. I wouldn't just say it would be a better movie, but I would be a bit more forgiving, more accepting of it than what they were trying to do with an alien invasion just sinking ships. So I'm going to dive in with the characters. The big surprise for me was that Jack Black voiced Bowser. Because when I heard Bowser, I'm like, holy shit, that is exactly how I imagined Bowser to sound. And when I looked it up on IMDb, I'm like, Jack Black is the voice of oh my god, somebody give this guy an Oscar. He did a phenomenal job. Like, that was a huge surprise for me, but but he totally pulled it off. I totally believed he was Bowser. What are your thoughts on the characters?
Yeah, so I think that, well, number one, right, I would say I kind of was like, Chris Pratt being Mario, I thought it was going to suck me out of it a little bit.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I don't know if he's going to really be able to pull this off, but he did, and I think, I think that worked. I enjoyed the characters for the most part. I think Mario, I liked. I did like how for Princess Peach, they kind of did a 180, which I kind of was expecting. Like, I don't think anyone wants to kind of do the Tile trope of your princess is in another castle. So I thought that was a better depiction of what she was saying. So I was very glad to see that.
I'll say this too. Sorry to interject.
No.
I'm glad she didn't have that bubblegum high pitched voice. Like, she actually sounded like an actual person. And I was like,
Yes.
all right, Princess Peach is an actual intelligent human being. All right, I like that.
Yep. Yeah, because I think she was voiced by Anya Taylor-Joy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. So I like that. The one thing that I kind of wish they did something different with was they hurt my poor boy Luigi. I like Luigi, and I know it's been kind of like a running joke with Luigi always kind of being second fiddle, but man, like, he was totally not in this movie. He got less screen time than Princess Peach, Donkey Kong. Like,
Toad.
it just
I mean, Toad had a much bigger role than Luigi.
What? I'm sorry. Let's say that again.
No, I was gonna say Toad had a much bigger role than Luigi.
Yes, yeah, even Toad. Yes, thank you. Like, who would have ever thought, like, hey, we're gonna have a Super Mario Brothers movie, and we're gonna be focusing on the Mario Brothers, which you introduced Luigi right at the beginning. So it's like, okay, you got Mario and Luigi. Luigi's not even the fifth most common person. Like, I think even like the Bowser, like the head like assistant for Bowser, I think he got more lines than Luigi did.
He did,
like,
yeah.
That's how much Luigi got second fiddle in this. I think that was the only thing I was kind of sore about, was just like, dang, like, you kind of were just like, hey, let's put kind of like, we're going to make Princess Peach, but we're going to, call him Luigi this time, because all he was action the whole time, and he needed to be saved by Mario. It was always like, Mario, come save me, Mario. Like, it's just, I didn't really like that. Like, I'm cool with you, having like Luigi really look up to Mario as like the bigger brother. I'm using air quotes because obviously, Mario is short is a joke in this movie.
Yeah, exactly.
So, Luigi kind of looks up to him, which I'm cool with. But then, like, you just make Luigi sound like he's totally incapable of doing anything. And that was just odd to me. Like, I felt like out of all the characters, like, they did Luigi the worst in this. And he was voiced by Charlie Day, who I think is really funny, but he never had an opportunity to really do anything. I think at the end, Luigi has his moment where he has like the little manhole cover that he, helps protect Mario with, and like that's his big moment. is he uses a manhole cover to help out Mario. I'm like, I don't know how I feel about like how all these characters are being brought in. So
I mean, but that was his one moment to shine, and then after that,
yeah,
he's going back to playing second fiddle, you know. So let me ask you this: I mean, how did you feel about Charlie Day voicing Luigi?
you know, it just he didn't do enough. Like he just didn't have enough involved in the story for me to even take notice. Like it just didn't resonate with me because there was nothing that he was asked to do. Like, you know, he kind of is like, you know, kind of this, you know, kind of whiny character. You know, you kind of see him in the when they're in the real world, right? When they're in New York before they go into the pipes. Like you kind of see him and he's just like, you know, always kind of like, you know, kind of complaining and stuff. And then when he's in the, you know, when he's in Mushroom Kingdom, all of a sudden he's captured and he's in a cage for, I would say, maybe 75% of the movie.
I
Don't
mean,
quote me on that, but it feels like a huge chunk of the movie he's just captured and he's just kind of like there. Like we don't really see him. He's just kind of like, oh, you know, we got Super Mario Brothers, and you know, we're just gonna have, you know, Luigi be in it, and he's just not really there. Like it just, I don't know. I can't really say too much about how I felt about Charlie Day's performance because he didn't really have enough for me to even qualify it as him really doing much of anything in the movie.
so really, the title of the movie is a misnomer because it should have been called the Mario movie, given the fact that Luigi was pretty much, you know, caged up literally for most of the movie. I mean, what I was disappointed was I was just disappointed by the fact that Luigi, you know, didn't try to do anything against Bowser. Like he didn't try to do anything to try to escape. He was just, I mean, he just let himself be captured and led away. You know, I thought, and this, and maybe it's just me, but I always thought that Luigi would, would try to take the initiative a little bit more. You know, given that in the video games, he and and I get that he and Mario work as a team, but I always thought, you know what, even when he's not around Mario, he would at least try to do something to kind of, you know, help himself. I just felt like the movie kind of just made it look like he was always depending on Mario. Like
Yes.
he has to do everything with Mario, and if Mario's not there, oh, never mind, I can't do anything. Sorry, I can't. I know I'm tied up and I'm being led by you guys, but no, I'm not going to escape because Mario's not here. You know, sorry.
Yep, I agree, and I get that that's like always been a running joke with the Mario community. Like, you know, Luigi's always just kind of there. Like, you know, he's never been kind of the one that gets the screen time. It just felt weird that you kind of bring all these characters in this world. You know, you do a good job with Mario. You make Peach a much more engaging and interesting character where she's sitting there fighting for the kingdom and everything like that. You know, Toad has, you know, some kind of fun moments with what's he there. And like I said, you always, you know, Toad's always kind of the one that I would imagine would be the one cowering and doing stuff.
Yeah.
But, you know, he ends up just being kind of this, like, you know, really like he's in it for whatever. Like, whatever happens, Toad's going to be part of it. But then Luigi's just like, you know, kind of this, you know, character that cowers the whole time and, you know, just really never has a moment. I mean, at the end, he does shine a little bit, right? So,
Yeah.
you know, he kind of gets to tag team with Mario, you know, and he kind of has that moment. It just, like I said, felt very weird that, you know, I would say like 95% of it, there's him doing a whole lot of nothing, and then he just kind of has his moment at the end to shine. So, just felt like it was kind of weird how they wanted to depict that, and you know, I think it would have been nice to maybe have Luigi, or maybe it's like Toad that's captured, and maybe kind of reverse that around. It just would have been nice to see, you know, something a little bit different when you have kind of these characters. You know, if you make them brothers, like people typically want to see them together, right? I think that you had an opportunity to kind of, you know, create more of this, you know, kind of seeing Mario give Luigi more and more confidence throughout the movie. And by doing that, it would have made for a more cathartic ending. So, I mean, I get that this is Mario. I'm not here to really, you know, turn this into a masterpiece or anything, but
Yeah.
I felt like that was a lot more deserving of a story, is to have, you know, maybe Luigi, you know, doesn't really have confidence in himself if you want to do it like that, which is kind of what they did. allow Luigi to be more engaged in the story or show Luigi doing more stuff that, I would have cared more for his character by the end of it.
Right, because just like in the games, he's pretty much just a secondary character that people sort of acknowledge is there, but if he's not there, he's not going to be missed.
Definitely not.
I will say this: like the most well developed out of all the characters was definitely Princess Peach.
Sure.
But what did you think about Bowser's motivation for wanting to take over the Mushroom Kingdom?
I mean, it was something. I don't know how to really react to it because it's just like, oh, this is kind of like,
he really loves her though. Like he really wants to make it work, and I kind of feel for the guy. I'm like, I know you're a badass, but
okay, if you would have if this wasn't Super Mario Brothers and you had this character in this and you put sinister music in the background, that guy is out there to kidnap. Like, this is a horror movie, right? Like,
that's true. Yeah, that's a good point.
Laughs, but if you kind of take that away, like, this is a horror movie. Like, he's totally going there.
He's literally a monster. Yeah, I get that.
And I get that that's kind of like the joke, right? Like, that's kind of the whole gag with it. It's just how detached he is. Like, he kind of has this really unsettling obsession with Peach, which is kind of weird because, like, we don't actually see them interact. Like, I think it would have been kind of cool if maybe we saw, like, them younger, where maybe, like, they were both, like, trying to survive and he grew feelings, but then, like, they kind of separated. Like, I don't know. It was just kind of weird because, like, he just has this love obsession with her, which...
Yeah, because it's just out of the blue. It's like, oh yeah, I do love Princess Peach. I want to marry her. I did think it was a funny scene where he was practicing with one of his ghosts.
Yes.
I was like, one of them walks in. It's like, can't you see we're busy? It's like, yeah, we're busy.
Yeah, it definitely, like I said, it works for the context of the movie. You can't take it seriously. It just like it's kind of like. It kind of feels very ooey if, like, you take back all the kind of, like, humor with it. Which, I mean, granted, like, I mean, he's always kidnapped Princess Peach in the game, so it's like, okay, well, there must be some underlying reason for it. So, I mean, you do have some of that built up, but yeah, it just, like I said, it did kind of just got a little bit like, oh, this is kind of like borderline creepy, cringy type of thing to see. But like I said, just kind of all in, kind of good fun that they wanted to. But yeah, it definitely was a very odd way to depict that character for sure. So
well, I mean, we also got to see Jack Black's quote unquote musical talent where he plays the piano and he's singing. So yeah. that's always a plus.
Yeah, that was fun. That was fun. That was fun to see. He definitely, I mean, he was definitely there to, kind of create this very memorable character, and he surely did. So,
but that's what villains do when they all play the piano and they sing some song about their diabolical scheme, and we applaud them for it because we're not listening to the lyrics. We're just thinking to ourselves, "Wow, he's a really good singer."
Mm-hmm.
So. My favorite scene in the movie was the one where they go into the Jungle Kingdom and Mario offers to fight Donkey Kong, and you see Donkey Kong come out and he's flexing his pecs and everything, and oh my god, the fight! I was like, that fight was the funniest scene in the movie by far. What was your take on that?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think. For DK, I definitely enjoyed how they kind of brought his character in. Like, I thought it was, really cool how they went ahead and did it. I did Seth Rogen, like, I know, like, he's kind of feels like he's kind of a love or hate him type of guy. I personally felt like in this role, he was a good Donkey Kong. And, like, the whole thing was just, kind of just a fun, kind of like to see everything happen, like Mario getting like his little Tanuki suit and everything.
Yeah,
was just like just kind of funny to see depicted on the screen. Like you just don't really know what to expect with it all. So yeah, just started to see some of that stuff pop up. I think they kind of did a good job with it. So I mean, I will say this: Mario can take a beating. Like he was there, and like man, he just got his ass kicked for so much of that time. I'm just like. I don't know how he's going to come back. And, I think they, like I said, did kind of a fun job with that, with being able to explore kind of all these different ideas that they have. And like I said, kind of, everything that they kind of do kind of like brings this whole idea of, like Mario Kart racing, which, was another one of the many, many fan service things that were out there, was, them kind of like, being able to, pick their carts and everything like that and kind of do the next part of their journey. So
that was actually a pretty cool scene too, when they actually get to customize their cards.
yes. Mm-hmm.
I watched it and I was like, nice. They found a way to introduce Mario Kart, and they did it in a way that wasn't bad. Like, it was actually pretty good. I did think it was kind of weird that all of the gorillas, drove carts, and they had their mallets in the back seat. But for what it's worth, it was pretty decent. Did you have any particular favorite scenes that you want to share? Anything that stood out?
Do you the weird ghost thing? Do you remember the weird ghost thing that was captured?
Oh yeah.
I don't know what that is, and I'm sorry, because I'm sure anyone that's like that really is in tomorrow is like, oh, that's watch. I don't know what that is, unfortunately, but those scenes, I think of everything that was in that, because I will have to admit, I didn't laugh that much during this movie. Like, the humor just wasn't that strong for me. But the scenes with that little like weird ghost character, they absolutely, I was laughing my head off with that.
It was pretty dark. Some of the stuff that little bastard was saying.
That's what made it funny. That's what made it funny, right? So we're talking about how, like, Bowser's sitting here singing about the song, how he's wanting to conquer people because he feels like that's gonna help make his way into Peach's heart. And then, have this like weird ghost character that is like saying like the most weirdest existential stuff that you can think of, that you're not expecting from, this fun little romp. So I think those scenes made me laugh. I think there was like 3 times that I really remember just kind of like actually like laughing. It was the 2 times that ghost was in the scene.
Yeah.
And the last one was at the very, very end, where Mario and Luigi have defeated Bowser and done everything like that, and they see the dog from the beginning of the movie.
Oh, yeah.
And the dog kind of does like this knowing nod to him, and I was just like, okay, that was legitimately funny. I laughed at that pretty good. So those were my 2 moments where, like, when the ghost was on the scene, and then that dog just having that little moment, like something that I was not expecting to see. Like, it was just, I thought that, they kind of had, kind of the intro, and that was just there to drive them into, going to Mushroom Kingdom and everything like that. And then, you do all that, and then there's kind of this really weird callback at the very end. I'm like, okay, you got me, movie. That made me laugh.
Yeah. I mean, to your point with the little ghost thing. I mean, that's a little bit of that's a little bit of the adult humor that you and I are used to experiencing, and for me in watching that movie, it's kind of like it's one of those movies where it's appealing to the 2 sides of the the audience. Really, it's appealing to the adult side, which over time, as you grow and develop, you kind of get introduced to different types of humor, and you're like, okay, that existential dark stuff, that's kind of funny. But at the same time, it's also appealing to the inner child within you that's like, yeah, that's pretty cool. You get to design your own cart, and Donkey Kong's throwing barrels, and Mario gets a Tanuki suit, and he's going around like beating the crap out of Donkey Kong. That's pretty cool. For me, I think it works on both levels. Now to your point, I mean, there's some scenes where it's like, yeah, I think it should be funny, but I'm not really laughing. For me, when I was watching those scenes, I kept thinking, if I was 10 years old, I would be laughing my ass off. But because I'm in my 30s, it'd be a little bit weird for me to laugh at some of the stuff. But there are some moments where it's like you just can't help but burst out laughing. And like I said, the big one was Mario beating Donkey Kong, because it's just so ridiculous that he hits that little box, he finds himself in a cat suit, Well, not even that. It's when I think he hits the little blue box and he shrinks down.
Yes.
I was just like,
Mhm.
that is hilarious because he's thinking all the boxes are the same. All right, so I'll just smash this one. Wait, I'm the size of a grape now. Holy shit!
Yeah.
And he smashes another box and it's a cat suit.
Yep, it's a fun romp, like you said, so I think that maybe while I didn't like laugh out loud during a whole lot of the moments, it was just kind of enjoyable to see. It's just kind of funny to think about, like Princess Peach when she has like her little like halberd thing, spear like thing that she's like walking around with. I'm like, huh, that's the side of Peach I was never expecting I would ever see. And she does a cool job throughout it. So there's just a lot of times where, it kind of resonated well. But like I said, there's only just a handful of times where I legitimately felt like I was watching something and it gave me a good laugh. So I think it did its job. I think for people that have that nostalgia for it, which is obviously, I think a lot of people have, played Mario, DK, stuff like that. So I think everyone has a little bit of nostalgia for that. And, I think, for a lot of people, right, they're parents now. So what happens now? You're trying to like introduce your kids into this world that, you obviously have a huge vested interest in. And now you're kind of being able to share that, with the future, so to speak. So I think it just kind of works on a lot of levels. And I think that's why it has that success. It has the memories that people want.
Yeah.
And it works well as an independent movie. Because like I said, I mean, kids that watch this, like obviously they're like, who's Mario? Who's Luigi? Like, we know these characters because we're older and we play these games. They don't, but there's enough fun there for everyone to enjoy. So I think they found that nice match, and I think that's what led to a lot of good success for it.
Yeah, I totally agree with on that one. Can I just say, I am so glad that Chris Pratt did not do an Italian accent throughout the entire movie.
Yeah.
He just used his own voice. Yeah, initially when they did that commercial, I was like, "Oh my god, please don't do this throughout the entire movie." But then when he talks his normal voice, I'm like, "Yes, I can enjoy this movie now because he's not doing a silly Italian accent." Nothing against Italians, by the way. We're just saying, but I'm but I'm really glad that they took the role and they made it their own. They didn't try to replicate everything from the video games. I mean,
Yes.
obviously they they acknowledged and they took their nods from from those games, but they took the material that mattered and they made it their own, and they did a great job with it because because in a way it's because in a way by doing that they've made it much more palatable, much more relatable, and as such it's I think it's something that that might age well over time. I know you said earlier that this is a movie that that you're happy that you saw once, but you probably won't see it again. For me, I feel like if the mood strikes me, I might watch it again, because it's just good escapism. So so let me ask you this. I mean, do you because we've seen the proliferation of these cinematic universes crop up over the past 10 to 15 years. I mean, obviously we've got Marvel, DC is retooling their cinematic universe again. We saw the Universal Monsters try to do something on their end, and it failed spectacularly. And then we got The Conjuring. Do you think this is the foundations for
No.
Nintendo shared universe?
No. No.
No.
No. I mean, if they want to do that, then more power to them. But like, I think this was a fun standalone thing. I know they kind of like set up like I think they had Yoshi at the end of it. So like you could certainly branch out, do some other things, but I mean, I think they should just enjoy. I think this is like one of those things where it's like a flash in the pan. It works for what it is, but I don't, like I said, not everything needs to have a universe. Like it was just a fun for what it was. I don't really care to have some shared universe with Nintendo. Like I think they should just be happy that this movie resonated well. And surely, like I would have no problem seeing like a sequel. I would like to see maybe a little bit more, where maybe we do get more of that Luigi story, or like I said, they bring in a different villain, maybe bring in like a Yoshi and some other characters that people like. So, I
Yeah.
mean, I think there are things that they could do with it, but I think that's where it maxes out at. Because I think once you start getting more than that, it becomes too serious. Like if you like, it just feels like after a while you're trying to take it too seriously and try to create something that's not there. So I'm not a fan of that. I hope that they, if they make a sequel, more power to them. But I think that's where it needs to stop.
So you'd be happy if they didn't, if they decide, this is the only Mario movie we're ever going to make, you'd be happy with that.
Oh, absolutely. I have no problem with that. I mean, I think like as far as like stuff goes like this, like, hey, you know what? We have the, original one that came out that obviously was not well received.
I
So,
remember seeing that one. Oh my God.
yes, right. Like, I mean, that's the one that unfortunately is ingrained in people's minds. So, you had like Bob Hoskins as Mario, which is so weird. And then you have like John Leguizamo was Luigi and Dennis Hopper was Bowser.
Oh God,
Like you
yes.
kind of have this very interesting group of people or actors that are playing these roles. And like I said, I think that's just kind of the sourness that you have from this. And like I said, now 30 years later, because I think that one came out in 93, I want to say.
Yeah,
So,
it was
30
93.
days
Yeah.
later, we create this movie, which I think it really hit everything it needed to. So, yeah, if this was the only movie that they do, more power to them. I think it's just, I think they hit what they needed to. I think it probably was more successful than I'm sure they were thinking it was going to be. So that kind of leads me to believe maybe they open up for a sequel, but I just, I think it was fun for what it did. I don't really feel like, oh, I have to know what happens now with Mario or Princess Peach or Luigi or their plumbing business. Like, there's just nothing that really is like, oh, I have to know what happens from here. So hopefully that's
Yeah.
the end of it. I mean, they can expand upon it, and I would be fine with that too. I just don't really see too much with it. So
I just feel like what this movie did was sort of make up for that movie from '93.
sure.
That's what I think. Because I'm like, because the guys who made that movie in '93, I felt like they didn't really understand or appreciate what the games were about. So flash forward 30 years later, the people who have played those games, who do understand it, they were able to, take those elements and make a proper movie out of it, which I wish, which to your point, is something that we're starting to see more now with, with shows like The Last of Us, which is a phenomenally great show. And and I hope this is a theme that continues with further adaptations, going to the future, because these are pretty good stories and these are pretty good characters, and if you can do a pretty good job with, giving them the gravitas that they deserve, as well as not taking them too seriously, depending on the story, I think you can have something that works. So
Yep. Yeah, I totally agree with you because I think the framework is there for a lot of this stuff to be successful. I think you just have to have the right vision and really you have to have the right people in place. I think, you have to have someone that obviously understands the material, understands the audience, because, as an audience member, like if this doesn't resonate with me, that's a huge issue because you're going to have someone that's a severe detractor because it's like, oh, well, I love, you know, the Super Mario Brothers growing up, and like if you don't have Mario wearing like his red outfit, or you don't have the power-ups, you don't have Princess Peach, like there's so many things that I think you really have to make sure you include to make that audience happy, and they got to do it. So I think that yeah, I think they're starting to get better with that, and hopefully that's a sign of things to come, because I do think there are some good things out there that, since we're wanting to rehash everything, would be nice if some good things got rehashed, as opposed to just like redoing stuff, or, being like, oh, cool, how many iterations of Spider-Man we're up to 3 now, right? 3 over the past 20 years. Like at a certain stage, it's like, let's see something different.
right. So just to wrap up, what's your overall score for this movie?
I'm gonna give this it's weird. It's hard to grade it for me because it's like from like just did I have fun with it? Yes. Did I laugh a whole lot? Not really. Was I really like engaged with the story? Not a whole lot. So like it was just kind of like a fun romp for me. So I would probably give it 3 out of 2 yummy mushrooms out of 5.
Okay.
And that's not like I said, I have to put huge asterisks on that because it's like it still is fun. It just like I said, it just felt like it banked a lot on nostalgia, which, like I said, it is what it is. Like we know nostalgia sells stuff. It just felt like that was really the focus of it, and there just was parts of it where I was just like, like it is what it is. So I'm gonna say
Yeah.
3.2. That's my final score.
I'm gonna say 4 out of 5 yummy mushrooms, and I will admit a lot of it has to do with the nostalgia. I went to this movie not expecting anything serious, anything epic. I went into this movie knowing that this was just going to be 92 minutes of just craziness fun.
Of course.
And yeah, there's some elements of it that kind of make you scratch your head. But for me, it's just due to the fact that the voice acting was phenomenal.
It was. I totally agree with that.
I mean, especially with Chris Pratt. I when I heard Chris Pratt was announced as the voice of Mario, I had my reservations. But after watching that movie, I was like, all right, he's actually done a phenomenal job. He actually reminded me of the of his character from Parks and Rec, that sort of innocent character who's kind of coming into the world, who's wide-eyed and just learning all these new things. So I definitely give props to him for for stepping up to the plate. Anya Taylor-Joy, she did a great job as Princess Peach. I was floored by her, by the way she performed. I thought she did pretty good. And
Yeah.
can I say again, just I don't want to sound like a broken record. Jack Black did a phenomenal job as Bowser. It's like with Mark Hamill. Whenever you think of the Joker, you hear Mark Hamill's voice, or I forget who's the guy who does the voice of Master Chief. But whenever you see Master Chief, you think of that actor's voice. When I think of Bowser now, I'm going to think of Jack Black because he just hits all the right notes on there. And I agree with you. I mean, Luigi could play a much bigger role. I felt like if he had been a bit more proactive and trying to be, just show that I don't really need Mario for everything. I can assert my independence and be a character in my own right. That would have made it a lot better. But but again, I'm not expecting too much from this movie because at the end of the day, this is a movie that's meant to to appeal to both the inner child in you as well as appeal to your adult sensitivities, like with Ghost or the little ghost character in the cage.
Yeah. It's a turn you're bringing off type of movie for sure.
Yeah, exactly. But for me, it just hits all the right notes, and it came as a huge surprise for me. But yeah, I mean, 4 out of 5 yummy mushrooms. Oh, and can I say Keegan-Michael Key as Toad?
Oh my God, you're right. I totally forgot about that. Yes, yep.
I did. Yep. I was like, that guy can voice any character, can he? Like I mean, please give that guy some more voice acting roles because he is good. I mean, this entire. I mean, because before all I knew him was from Mad TV and was it Keegan and Peele.
Mm-hmm.
My God, he is a phenomenal voice actor. He needs to be given more roles. I gotta say.
I agree. You know what, Luca? I'm gonna be totally straight with you here. You've warmed my heart after your speech. I'm gonna change my vote, and I know this is gonna be. I'm gonna put up to 3.5 out of 5. That's. I agree. Like you've helped me change a little bit of a corner on this. You've melted my cold dead heart. Just
like Bowser melting the ice.
3.5. You got me. You got me 3.5 out of 5. Slightly yummier mushrooms. So
I'll take it. All
right.
So next episode, what movie are we reviewing, Lee?
That's a great question. To be decided. I don't have anything off the top of my head. I will come up with something, and we'll figure out from there.
Well, can I just say, for all of our viewers out there, The Flash is coming out on the 16th, and
Yes.
then, well, I saw a trailer for was it Mission Impossible? Was it Dead Reckoning or what was it? It was It's a two-parter movie. But I saw that trailer that comes out next month, and then Oppenheimer comes out.
Yeah, you're right. It is called Dead Reckoning. Yeah, it comes out July 12th.
So we got some plenty of interesting movies that are on the slate. I'm definitely going to go see The Flash, but I'm not going to see it the week of the 16th because we will be at Heroes Con at that comic book convention. How do we feel about Dead Reckoning? Yay, nay?
I mean, I'm all for it. I think that the other ones were great, so I mean, I'm all for that because and don't forget we have Oppenheimer that also comes out in July as well. So
now that is a movie I definitely want to see. Like,
yes, I agree.
A great character study. I mean, I texted you like a few weeks ago saying that that I actually watched Inception for the first time. So that sort of opened my heart to other Nolan films that do not involve Batman. The only Nolan film that I didn't really care for was Dunkirk, but that's something we can dive into later on.
Mm-hmm.
Lee, any final thoughts before we sign off?
No, just give Luigi a break. Just that's all I ask for. Just if you do something else with Luigi, give the man a break. He's always been second fiddle to Mario. Like he needs to help step out of people's shadows. I think they really did that with Princess Peach. It's always been a running gag, and she was a badass in this movie, which was a cool way to represent it. But then you made poor Luigi nothing. So they need to help out Luigi in the future. Give that man some roles. Let Charlie Day have his day, right? I mean, Charlie Day's fantastic.
No pun intended.
You don't need him for nothing. It's like, let's get a really funny person to do the voice, and then he's gone for the majority of the movie. So yeah, that's my final thought.
Gotcha. Well, if nothing else, everybody remember to like, comment, subscribe, and as always, thank you all so much for watching. And we'll catch you on the flip side. Take it easy.